As of this recording, patch 3.2 with the release of Nahida's banner, story quest, and Archon quest is right around the corner. Before then, I personally wanted to make a video about her concept, as I think Hoya's way of creating this character was actually a very unique way compared to the Archons prior to her. Firstly, let's start with her introduction to the game. She first appeared in the 2.8 event telepathically communicating with us, and I thought this was a great first introduction to her character. It gave players hints towards her powers, as well as some foresight into things that we might expect in Sumeru, such as the concept of dreams, illusions, and reality. After having met her in the 3.0 Archon quest, we learned a bit more about who she is as a person. She seems to be a very curious and explorative god who tends to use riddles and analogies in a kid-like fashion to explain very important concepts and themes. And although sometimes she does still use childlike language such as saying anxiety duke duke, it's a very interesting dynamic that I think Hoyoverse did a great job at demonstrating that while she may be young and naive, she is still the Dendro Archon who cares for her people and, like a child, has a never-ending level of curiosity. And speaking of her care for her people, I think that they emphasized this very well during the 3.1 quest during the cutscene when she reversed Dotori's mind experiment on the Sumeru citizens. Later on, we also got to see everything from Nahida's perspective when she swapped places with us after getting stabbed by an air mite. This is where we learned that she was trapped in a cage similar to the bird in the cage that we previously saw on the 3.0 Archon quest. This creates a level of sympathy from the player as it brings forth the reality that Nahida has lived in this state for literally 500 years straight, ever since she first awoke and was dragged there by the academia. However, what was even more shocking was a hint that we got about her towards the end of the 3.1 Archon quest when we saw the vision in the temple with Alhaitham, Dea, Sino, and the Eremite. We learned that the Scarlet King sacrificed himself and that Rukkhadevata actually exerted her power to save the people to the point that she became a small child. Now, of course, not everyone is on board with the fact that physically Rukkhadevata is Nahida due to possible timeline issues, but in my personal opinion, I feel this is one of the cases where Hoyo is being very direct with players and what they want them to think, since based on the 3.2 trailer that we saw from the livestream, it will probably have lots of relevance to the 3.2 Archon quest, especially the part where Nahida is literally kneeling and crying and saying, "No, I can't." It probably has some importance with that scene specifically, especially. However, I must point out that technically Rukkhadevata and Nahida are two different people with completely different mindsets and outlooks on life despite being physically the same person. And then came her birthday teaser, and boy, oh boy, was it sad. It followed a very similar theme with the 3.0 Archon quest where her dream kept repeating over and over, insinuating that she is also stuck in a permanently looped dream state. Now, however, what made the video even more tragic and heartbreaking was the last loop, where her dream displayed how she was found by the academia and dragged back to Sumeru only for her people to be disappointed in her. And you can tell by the expressions of the people and also the fake smiles that some of them give when she arrives, and you can tell she's like, what's going on here? There's also text throughout the video which, when translated, shows how upon her arrival, her people, especially among the academia, were very disappointed with her lack of wisdom compared to Rukkhadevata, and thus locked her in the palace of Sursthana, where she stays until now. And of course, it ends with her sadly saying, "Happy birthday, Nahida," making the player feel sorry for her, whilst also directing anger and frustration towards the academia and the people of Sumeru's ignorance. Her teaser in terms of backstory is debatably one of, if not the most tragic playable character teasers that we have gotten in Genshin's history, as it attempts to show the player what the causes of years of ignorance and neglect does to someone, especially in Archon. Hoyoverse did a splendid job with this, since it was effective in getting people to take interest in our beloved Dendro Archon. And lastly, I wanted to talk about the music, because specifically the one from her gameplay demo during the 3.2 livestream, chef's kiss. Now, I've seen many people complain about this music as it doesn't, quote, feel like music for an Archon, but can we be serious? Why should Archons be constrained to certain kinds of music? It would literally make no sense for Nahida, a child who is similar to a bird freed from its cage and allowed to finally spread its wings, to have a god mode battle boss music theme. That style of music just simply does not fit who she is as a character and as an Archon. She is curious, innocent, naive, and many other traits that are synonymous with childhood, and despite what her people think of her, she still cares for them and grants them free will. Now, because of this, what they went with her theme here felt very perfect for her. The song itself feels as if I'm experiencing the emotions of a child taking its first steps, saying its first words, and expressing their curiosity to garner new knowledge and experiences. And overall, I think it fits her well. and I do hope that when she is fully released that they follow this theme with her music. Alright, and that concludes this quick little analysis video. I just wanted to make a little cute video about our beloved Dendro Archon Nahida, as her banner is right around the corner, and I do think that she deserves a little bit of love because, to be honest, ever since her first appearance in the game, as well as things like leaks and people's comments about her appearance, obviously hasn't always been the best from the very beginning. And so I think, in terms of character, I think that she deserves at least a little bit of love, because me personally, I do enjoy the Dendro Archon, and I do like Nahida as a character, and I think, again, Hoyoverse did a really good job at introducing her, as well as bringing her character and her personality out and making people feel something about the character. So I think they did a good job with that. And until the next video, bye bye.